Hi, I'm Jake. Okay, no, I'm not JB Ellis. Okay, he's analyst of business tonight, and so I am going to be both producer and QB2. I am Denzel Snipes, and welcome to Cubfidential, the best Cubs coverage this side of North Side Chicago. We got a loaded show for you. Got a couple of people in here who's going to be willing, ready, and able to talk Cubs baseball. Been kind of an up and down week. You know what I mean? But we'll see what's going on. We've got a couple headed to Seattle for the big All-Star game, and lots more coverage for you. Um, First to bring on in over from the Let's Talk Sports side, he is the host of the Nick Botkins podcast. Just came over from a wrestling podcast himself, but devout Cubs fan. Let's go ahead and bring him in. Nick Botkins, come on in here, brother.
What's up, my man? How you doing?
What's going on with you, man? You been doing all right?
Oh, yeah. It's been a great 4th of July. I wish at least the Cubs got the win yesterday. So, it's been a good 4th of July, good weekend, and went back to work today and back to be with y'all tonight.
All right, awesome. Before we get started, just want to remind everybody that we are live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, DVTV, and Stream TV. So if you are catching us on YouTube, hit that like and subscribe button for not just Confidential, but much more Sideline sports material. Pundit just went off earlier tonight. We had a great show. You also got the Gauntlet. You got the Sideline Sports Show. First and 56, pushing back with Kobe White. We got a lot of great material for you, basketballs, you name it. So hit the like and subscribe button for YouTube. Also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, DBTV, and Stream TV. All right, so let's get on down to it. First, want to bring up is the series against the Philadelphia Phillies. And the NL champions came away with a sweep at Wrigley. There were some close games. I feel like the Cubs could have stolen a game or two. I actually was surprised they got swept. But tell us your thoughts on that.
I mean, our bullpen is awful, man. Let's just be honest. Like, we're not going to win against a team like the Phillies, the defending NL champions, in a series with this bullpen. We lose game 1, 5-1. You're not going to win hardly any games, only scoring 1 run. You lose game 2, 8-5, which was a close one. And then the last game 3-1. Again, you're not going to, so even if the bullpen does pitch well, where's the lineup at? You're not going to win very many series when you only score, a combined 2 runs in 3 games. In 2 of those games, 1 run. So you get 5 runs, and anytime, I've said this before, you score 3 runs or more, you should win that ball game. You score 3 runs or less, you're probably not going to win. So you got to get the 3 runs and more, you're going to win. And then your pitching shouldn't allow, hopefully it doesn't allow, gets 3 runs or less, and you could be all right. But the Phillies just, old friend Kyle Schwarber hit some home runs in that series, and it just wasn't, swept away. We left our offense in England at that point in time.
Yeah, pretty much. Because, you look at the first game in England where they just lit up the Cardinals, and you kind of wonder, where the offense went. Now, a lot of people could, say, it's the Cardinals. The Cardinals are kind of a struggling team this year. They spent, the better part of the season, in the basement of the NL Central, which, never happens in Cards history, right?
No, it don't. It doesn't.
Especially after getting, Contreras. But then, you look at Philly. And Philly, they are the defending NL champions. And, it's not like they had a dominant season and then won the pennant. Like, they squeezed in, and then they had a Cinderella-esque run. But this has been the theme of the Cubs this year. It's like, man, when it comes to contenders, because remember, they took the series versus the Dodgers. They've taken the series against some contenders, And then when it comes to a team that they theoretically should beat, they falter. And now you look at Philly's last year's pennant winners, but they could have taken the series. They at least should have taken one game,
right? Yeah. They're Philly's 41-37 right now, so they're not too much better than the Cubs. They're Cup 5 games above 500. The Cubs are now 3 games below 500. Before we went to Britain, we were, 2 games, looked like we were could be been 500 if we swept the Cardinals. So we're just kind of middling around that 500 mark, and they're just a little bit, at 5, they're a little bit above 500. So it's just, just pitching struggled. Brandon Marsh homered twice in the first game. That's just not we're just not going to win very many games with our lineup. Like they only hitting one run. Like we got to wake up the bats a little bit in that series. It was just, Drew Smiley, it didn't pitch well in one game either. Anytime James Taillon pitches, you might as well call that a loss. I know we're going to talk about him in a little bit. He absolutely the definition of dog shit. I mean, that's just the way. I mean, just absolute dog shit is James Taillon, man. I mean,
you are not happy with that. You're not happy with that pickup at all.
No, he reminds me of the dude we signed, Chatwood a couple years ago. If you remember him, we brought him from I believe the Rockies, right? And we signed him to like a 3-year similar deal of what Taillon got. And what did he do? Absolutely nothing. You know what I mean? He absolutely stunk up the joint too. And Taillon stinks up the joint. Our bullpen, I feel like, is a combination of all the worst bullpen we've ever had in my entire life. And our bullpen absolutely stinks. We don't even have a closer on the roster. So, I mean, it's going to be a long season, man. Every time you get your hopes up, right? Like we were on a hot streak before we went to Britain. You're like, oh, man. And you just keep looking at the standings like this NL Central stinks. We just talked about the Cardinals being dead last, and I'm still waiting for them to turn it around because, number one, they're the Cardinals, right? That's what they normally do, and this division absolutely stinks. You win 5 games, you're right back in first or second, and you're just like, come on, Chicago, come on, Cubs, let's just pull it together. But we are who we are. We're a 500 team.
Yeah, you know, it's one of those things where whenever you had a team that has dominated that division for so long, when they have a down season, you would think that's the time to take advantage. But, yeah. I mean, it's still a season left. But we'll move on to the next series here. At least the Cubs won one game. They blew them out 10-1. It showed a lot of promise. And then the Guardians take the next 2. Your thoughts?
Yeah, so the first game, we had Justin Steele pitching. That's a game that you always feel like, hey, if Steele or Stroman's pitching, you feel like, hey, we're gonna pitch really, we got a chance, right? Like if the lineup can then you're like, hey, we scored 10 runs. Then you're just hoping like, hey, we scored 10. Can we save some for tomorrow and the next day? And that didn't really quite happen. I mean, we did lose one of those games in extra again. Crappy bullpen, 8-6. That last game, we get zilched in game. You score 10 runs one day, and then you score 0 the next day. So that's frustrating, right? And then you lose the series finale, 8-6. Due to the bullpen 2-run single in the 10th, and we lose 8-6, and blew a 4-run lead in the 9th. We had a 4-run lead in the 9th. You want to talk about my blood pressure going through the roof? That's right there. Can we get a closer? Well, how come we're not – the Rangers traded for Aroldis Chapman? Bring Chapman's butt.
Could have had Chapman. Chapman was a Cub at one point. Yeah, he won a ring with y'all.
Yeah, we need somebody. Somebody.
He won a ring with y'all. Hold on, got Tyler. He's been okay in the pen since moving being a starter of the season, but overall Cubs moving this piece. So, Alzolay, pretty decent. Probably y'all's only bright spot.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, he was supposed to be a starter, and now he's a bullpen. I kind of like him. He's not a closer, though. Like, we need a guy that can just come in and get 3 outs. You should not be blowing a 4-run lead in the 9th.
No, you really shouldn't.
That should be a guaranteed question.
Should Steele's not starting the All-Star game, is he?
No, I don't think he'll start, but he's headed to the All-Star. They said Steele's in.
Stroman and Swanson. That actually is coming up. We're going to talk about that here in a bit. Yeah. But you know what? On a bright spot, let's go ahead and you talked about you had a nice, 4th of July, and one of them was the Cubs beating the Brewers in it. And I know we were in the chats and everything. I know your blood pressure was going sky high again because they once again blew another lead, but they scored in extra innings. And how about Ian Happ's cannon of an arm, especially that last throw that literally saved the game?
Yeah, Ian Happ. I mean, we know I've always been an Ian Happ guy. I thought he was going to be a Ben Zorbis kind of, right, when he first came up. Like, he could play a little bit every there and here, and it still kind of is, but he's a little bit better than Ben as far as outfield-wise for sure. And, I mean, good play by Ian Happ. But it's another, the day before, right? The day before on the 3rd, on Monday, same situation. We had a 6-run lead in that game.
Yeah, he lost that one.
Lost it. I thought the same thing was going to happen. Just go ahead, put the freaking rocket in my freaking eyes in the firework in my eyes, so I don't have to watch this crappy bullpen anymore. It's what I wanted to do the 4th of July, because I thought for sure we were going to lose it again, because that's just what I don't know if this bullpen is stuck together between glue and, used duct tape that, or something like this. It's that bad.
I wouldn't even give them the luxury of duct tape, paper tape.
Yeah,
that translucent that you used back in grade school.
Yeah, Scotch tape and bubble gum is what this bullpen is stuck with. It's awful, man. There's got to be somebody. Go get somebody. Go get Joe Schmo down the street, high school kid or somebody. Somebody in the minors got to be better than what we do. Just bring up all the kids in the minor leagues and see if they can throw in this bullpen and see what sticks, because not one of them can throw.
I mean, if you think about it, it's like you would think, okay, with a bullpen this bad, you got to tell your offense, listen, we got to build up a big lead, okay?
4 runs is a plenty of
and then
6 runs is even better.
They give up a few runs, but we win by like 2. But then, like you said, you have a 4-run lead, you got a 6-run lead, and then poof.
It's gone.
It's gone.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but at least that was a bright spot for the Cubs. They're in the middle of that series right now. We'll actually talk about that series as a whole next week on Cubfidential. But before we turn you loose, man, Cub or dud. Maybe this will be a bright spot going into All-Star break, but just a preview of the Cubs-Yankees series. And back to my point of how, the Cubs will just suddenly wake up and, all of a sudden they're world beaters and they'll, sweep a contender or win the series. So they're at the Bronx, How do you feel about a sweep? Cub or dud?
We ain't sweeping nobody. Are they the Oakland A's? That's the only team we're sweeping. I mean, we're only sweeping the bottom of the barrel. We're not sweeping the Yankees. Let me look at the probable starters here. Let's see. They ain't even got them up. Oh, wait. James Tallian's pitching game 1, so that's a loss right there already. So we ain't winning that game. So I don't even know why this is even a question. I mean, he's pitching game 1. I mean, they got Carlos Rondon going. He's not. I mean, he's a little bit better, he's making his season debut, actually, I think. So, I mean, as long as James Tallian is taking the ball every 5th day, just count that as a loss. Every 5th day doesn't matter.
Oh, man. Gotcha. Then I got Tyler one more time. Says need to call up Brown.
Yeah. Call up to anybody. Yeah. And Christopher said 3 weeks ago when I was on this program, I said James Tallian sucks, and your guy Chris stood up for him, and now he's eating his words. I tell you, when I'm right, I'm right. I know when a turd is a turd, and I know when a diamond's a diamond. You can't polish a turd up. He's a turd.
You can't, absolutely. Well, hey, thanks a lot for coming on the show. And before you go, give your parting shots and where can we find you?
Yeah, we'll be on tomorrow night, the return of the Let's Talk Sports show on the Let's Talk Sports Network and the Bodkin show as well. We'll be back 8 o'clock Central tomorrow. It's our big UFC 290 preview show. So we'll be talking some UFC tomorrow night. And then we'll be back Sunday, talk a little bit of roundup of the sports and talk a little bit about that UFC 90 card that had happened.
Okay. Oh, hey, awesome. Absolutely. I think JB actually has been over on the Let's Talk Sports side, has been on. Think it's about time I come on there and invade it, man. So I might have to spend about 10 minutes on your show or something, man.
always a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. And then and also myself and Jacob Christner starting up. And this is to everybody out there. We made an announcement tonight. The Sniper and the Pundit presents Top Rope Talk coming in August of 2023. All pro wrestling all the time. WWE, AEW, Indies, pay-per-views, you name it. There was an amazing Money in the Bank that happened.
It was incredible.
Just this past Saturday. It was great, and there's going to be a lot of talk. So, Nick, of course, you're invited. Anybody else out there that's invited, it's getting started, headed your way in August of 2023. Nick, salute, brother. Thank you for coming on.
We'll catch you later. See you.
And we'll see you on the next time around, all right?
Always.
Later on. All right, so that is Nick Bockins. Check him out on the Nick Bockins podcast over on Let's Talk Sports on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, you name it. Awesome guy, So let's keep it rolling here with the second half of the show and bring in Mr. Ubbs himself, Jacob Christner. I feel like I've seen you around.
Yeah, a few times. And, yeah, I stuck up for Italian because he had 2 14-win seasons. Number 1. Number 2, he kept calling him my guy. No, my guy is My guy is Kyle Hendricks, and you've known that.
Yeah.
So that's my guy. No, but yeah, how can I say? This is the truth? How in the world how can you explain this? 14 wins, one with the Pittsburgh, mind you, and then coming off a season of 14-5. How do you explain how miserably bad this is? You can't explain it. It's just, you just lost everything.
This is what it is, But moving on here, and as we alluded to earlier in the telecast, and I'm pretty sure you're proud of this right here. But Stroman, Steele, and Swanson make the 2023 NL All-Star roster. It probably was something that a lot of people saw coming, especially Cubs Nation. So just give us your thoughts on that. Do you think they got it right? And who did they snub?
Oh, yeah, and they didn't snub anyone, really. It's like Kyle didn't have enough. Kyle has a 2.83 ERA. He should that is an all-star if he was long enough. But he's only been back 6 weeks.
I'll say this much before you continue. Yeah. If Morel did not get injured, if he went the whole way, Morel would probably be on the roster.
Morel is fun to watch. He is just – it's like if this team – had 9 players with that kind of enthusiasm, including the pitchers. And it's like, and everything like that. Enthusiasm has a lot to do with everything like that when you can be able to get there. And if they had everything like his, oh, good Lord, this team would be right up there. It's like, you got to realize a lot of these players just kind of go through the motions, especially when they're struggling, like being down 3-1 tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, it's one of those deals where it's like, I like Christopher Morel, and he could be there. And I don't think there's much of a snub to it. It's like when you're only back 6 weeks. The 2.83 ERA by Hendricks right now, and he's starting to not throw. He's not starting to not throw walks again. 1 in 3 weeks, and he's starting to really get that ball in there. Yeah, that's exactly what I think. Mind you, I wish he had a couple
better just as the season goes on.
Yes, he is, and he's getting dangerous. That's the scary part. If they start to fall apart, and they do at the trade deadline. I don't want to lose him. But it's like he's getting hot.
Hendricks, and especially Stroman, and maybe Steele. When it's all said and done, do you think that you could throw him in the upper echelon of Cubs pitchers like Big Z and Kerry Wood?
Oh, absolutely. You got to remember, he's already got more wins.
That is true.
He's got more wins. He's at 91 wins right now. If this bullpen learns how to hold themselves, he's got 100 wins by the end of his career. By the end of the season. He has his 100th win. If they learn, which means right at this point that would be 13 wins. He averages 12. So it's like with the whole thing. So that's 100 career wins. It's like, so yes, absolutely he does.
Nice. Absolutely. Well, let's go on to our next topic. And
by the way, I know who got snubbed. Talion.
Very funny. Very funny. If we're going by the past 2 years, yeah, absolutely. But going on our next topic, and that is outside of Wrigley. So the Padres defeated the Angels 8-5 yesterday. Musgrove actually outdueled Ohtani with 11 Ks. Ohtani gave up back-to-back home runs. He actually ended up leaving the game early with a blister. You alluded earlier to them losing both of their guys, him and Trout, at the wrong time. I'll say this much about Ohtani, is if he ends up walking, which a lot of people suggest, the Angels have nobody to blame but themselves. For so long, and you've heard me say this, Jake, they've had what a lot of people would deem the 2 best players in baseball. Couldn't sniff the playoffs. I get it. The Astros have been running that division, but you could at least get a wild card. Hell, the Mariners did it, and they hadn't been to the playoffs in 21 years, But as far as the game goes, awesome performance by Musgrove. Your thoughts on this overall?
What did I say about Ohtani last week when I was saying something like this? I said I wanted him, if they would hypothetically, if the Cubs would get hot and they go in the buyers thing, and hypothetically, I would want him as a hitter and as a backup pitcher, relief,
a closer.
Not the thing. The reason, for one thing, you need relief pitchers. That's why I said that. See that 11 Ks? See those things? That arm, saving that arm.
Yeah.
Here's the deal. Great pitcher, exceptional hitter. Better hitter than
he's
pitcher.
Already got 30 jacks this year.
Yeah, He's a better hitter than pitcher. And you got to realize people keep talking about, oh my God, it's like he's doing things that Ruth didn't do. Ruth has 94 career wins. He's got like 38. It's a long way off that. But big thing about it, they both went 5 years. They both pitched 5 years. How long before we start seeing him as, it's always that making a decision, does he do both or one? Because this is year 5. They did that with – here's the thing. Before you can make Ohtani Ruth, think about this. Ruth did not pitch for 9 years and got a complete game win. Then he didn't do it for 3 years in the end of his career. Mind you, this is Fat Ruth.
Yeah.
This is Fat Ruth, 1934.
Then again, that was Prime Ruth.
Yes. In the 1934, he was Fat Ruth. He did that kind of thing. You want to know what I mean? Fat Ruth. Not in 3 years after he was fat, complete game win. Mm-hmm. Ohtani's not doing that. That's a different game. It doesn't mean Ohtani's not good. He is one of the greatest of this era. But we got to quit this comparison stuff to try to get rid of a legend. Ruth's his own man. Ohtani's his own man. And the thing about Ohtani, you can outduel him. You can do this. You see these things here with the 11 Ks. You can outduel him, and you can be able to get to this thing. And the fact remains, he's a better hitter.
He's a much better hitter, absolutely. The thing with Ohtani, now I get it. The Japanese players are just built different. Like, it is what it is. So are Dominican players, so are Puerto Rican. They just built different. You know what I mean? So Ohtani,
I picked the Japanese to win that. Remember that World Baseball Classic. I picked it. I picked it.
A lot of people did. They did.
Yeah, and it's like they don't make mistakes. They are efficient. Everything about their movements, everything about their swing, everything about their pitching, everything is efficient. Here's the deal. You want to know why the Americans were so close? Talent. You want to know why? Talent. You want to know why the Japanese win? Efficiency. Yeah. Everything. It is why they're the top of the martial arts. It's the reason that they're top of everything they get with their sports. They do not waste their energy. They do not. I was at a Japanese restaurant with my friend, with TJ yesterday. We went to a Japanese, Chinese, or Asian restaurant. We went to the thing. The most efficient. It was a full house. The whole place was full. We got our appetizer, our food, and everything in 17 minutes.
Woo!
With the full house, the whole place filled.
That's crazy.
They don't waste a breath. They don't waste a movement. This is what they do. That's why they win and they do what they do. We could learn from that.
Yeah, absolutely. I've said that when I was stationed overseas, and I would see how they would do construction in the Middle East and Europe. It's so much different than like here in the United States. But it's
efficient. Efficient.
Yeah. Efficiency.
It's efficient. They're not wasting. They don't wait. See, they don't run out of breath because they don't waste any.
No, they don't. And they for damn sure don't take off. But we're gonna go on to our Hot Cub time machine. I think you might appreciate this one, and that is manager Jim Frey. He was the one that brought the Cubs back. He was only there for 3 seasons. I think he had 1 or 2 division titles, but he brought the Cubs to the postseason for the first time in 39 years. As a matter of fact, no, his only time, his 3 years there, that was the only division title that they won. But yeah, your thoughts on Jim Frey? Not to mention Ryan Sandberg went on record as saying Frey is the reason why he's a Hall of Famer.
My first year of fandom, 84. My first. And I am telling you that, and as I said, here's my first years as a fan, okay? Mm-hmm. 84 Cubs division title. 84 Celtics championship. 84 Bears division title. 85 Bears Super Bowl. 85 Celtics finals. 86 Celtics championship. Mm-hmm. 86 Bears division title. 87 division title. 87 then Andre Dawson showed up for the Cubs.
Yeah.
88 Bears division title. 89 Cubs division title. And let's see, like, oh yeah, Celtics division titles too. Don't forget those. I mean, that's all the way through. I had a total of, let's see, 18 division titles. That's my first year as
between
a fan.
all three sports, yeah.
Yes, and three championships. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and 3 championships, and it's like when you think you've picked them all, you think you picked it right, and everything like that. But then I didn't see another. Then I did not see another championship till 2016, and another till 2019. It's like, you can't tell. You just got to be lucky early. But
wait, hold on a second. You're leaving off another championship, 2008 Celtics.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. 6.
Yep,
then.
and they won the conference in 2010. Yeah. But yeah, go ahead.
But I've seen so many division titles. That's the whole thing about it. But no, the thing about it was the fact that was just such a fun. I mean, if you're watching and you're absorbing the way I could at that age, it was such a fun team. I mean, Dunston, it's Sandberg. Let's see, I can go to it right now. Jody Davis, you had Sutcliffe, the Red Baron. You had Leon Durham. You had Sandberg. You had Dunston. You had Moreland. You had Gary Matthews. You had, let's see, you had Gary Matthews. Yeah, Moreland was in right field until Dawson came there. Then you had, let's see, Davey Martinez was 86. So I'm still Bob Dernier. You had that. And it was like, and then Davey Lopes, he was a back thing. And it's like, I'm just saying over and over and over. Just, they were just all a fun team. Everybody contributed. And it was, see, the reason I became a Cub fan was that one, but there's just been a lot of, I mean, they just had a lot of bad luck, but there's been a lot of great players.
Yeah, absolutely, and I mean, Fry was the one that brought them back to prom because they went all the way to the they did go to the NLCS. They lost to
the San Diego Padres.
They lost to the Padres. Yep.
See, you want to know what this is? This is proof that you've got to finish it now. Everything is proof you've got to finish it now. Bears losing the Super Bowl, you think, oh, we've got ourselves a chance, and they didn't even make the playoffs. The Cubs wouldn't make the playoffs again until 89, get swept.
Yeah.
And it's like you don't know. So it is your time. You've got to finish now. And it's like they were up 2-0. And because of guess what? It was 2-0 because they had day games in Wrigley. They did not want another, so they made a special one-time deal, 2 and 3. 2 in Wrigley, 3 in San Diego. And they made a decision because you could not have any more. At that time, they had no lights, and they wanted the primetime games.
Oh wow! So they're trying something different, but at the wrong time, essentially.
And it's like, and the Cubs blew it Game 5 anyway. So it was just, and see, and the funny thing was that was Leon Durham's. See, this is the funny thing about the whole Leon Durham under his glove was the fact that there were Cubs fans. I mean, you look. The biggest thing is you look in the radio thing, and they're talking about, oh my God, that wouldn't have happened to Buckner. Because Buckner was there. What happens 2 years later? And he had a really bad back, and his he had a really bad.
He shouldn't have been playing.
No, he had a really bad back, and his hamstrings are gone. He could not bend over at all. Yeah. And what happened? It's like they were saying that that would happen with Buckner. It happened with Buckner. It's like it's just like it was bad. The thing is, Cubs had a lot of curse, and you got to realize if it wasn't for a 6'6" first baseman, they would have continued the curse because that was that World Series. Bryant slipped on that throw, and there he had to go up.
Yeah.
If that was a shorter first baseman, that's another bomb.
Yeah.
It's like, and sometimes it takes. You got to remember, he slipped on that throw, so there you go, and it sailed, and he's 6'6" and caught it. Sometimes it takes that to beat a curse, and then it gets easier from there. But it's just, but it's like, but those were the things. It's like you had all those curses, you had all those deals. You missed the things. You have 2003, which I'm never going to blame Dusty for. I'm never going to. Those things happen.
Yeah, they ran. I mean, In 03, and I actually watched the thing on Steve Bartman like sometime last week, and it was like, you know what? But the Marlins were just the better team.
Well, I
Not
want
to
to smack
mention,
every fan there of what they did at Bartman, because my
it was
goal one day is
terrible.
to get bigger. My goal one day is to get bigger, be able to sing the seventh inning stretch and have Bartman singing it with me.
Yeah, hey, you know what? That would be great. Because the one thing I think the biggest thing, there was two things that I took away from that. I'm gonna say this, and we got to end the show. The two biggest things that I took from that was number one. The Cubs had a lead. They blew a lead in Game 7. If they close the deal, then Bartman's an afterthought. They're not talking about, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Cubs win a pennant, that's it. But also number two, and this is just me, but I think the Yankees probably would have won it all anyway. The Yankees were a buzzsaw.
Yeah. Well, they were, and it's like it was just that idea of Cubs going to a World Series.
Go to a World Series, yeah.
And see, the Cubs were better in 16. They were in 3. They just were. But and by the way, I want to do the Cub or Dud. By the way, as far as the Cubs sweeping them.
Yes, real quick.
I want to do that one.
As far as the Yankees, speaking of which, Cubs, Yankees.
Here's the thing about this. This is the funny part. Yeah, Bodkin's probably right that he's not going to win that one. But wouldn't it be hilarious if he threw a gem in the Yankee Stadium where he threw gems all last year?
Dude, let Tylon win that game come that series. I want him back on the show specifically to address that.
I know, but the thing is, Italian's having a bad year. But it's like I've said, it is something with your mind. It is something with your delivery, something along those lines. You need a pitching coach, something with your release. Anything is going on because he's losing control. He's giving up big hits. He's getting pounded. And it's like, this wasn't the thing. It's like a 14-win guy knows something somewhere, but he's not consistent.
Right.
He's not consistent, so it's like, if you've won it before, you can do it. But he looks terrible this year. He just does. And that's the unfortunate part because the Cubs need that 4.
Yeah, they do. Absolutely. Well, that does it for our program. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Shout out to Will Vogel and Tyler Ingram in the comments. Once again, you all check out Nick Bakken's show on the Let's Talk Sports side on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Also, make sure you like and subscribe to Sideline Sports. A lot of great material. And so for myself and the pundit himself, we will see you all in 7 days. Later.